It's Monday night, and you know what that means. Jersey First TV proudly brings you the latest edition of Real Talk, and I am New Jersey's premier and certainly seven-time award-winning journalist, top 100 Latino via the Latino Spirit online magazine for 2020, 2021, and now in 2022, as well as the weapon of mass disruption in Garden State media. Yes, folks, the people's choice and the people's voice. It's me, Fernando Uribe. Happy Monday to you all. I appreciate you joining us here from wherever and however you may be tuning in on this, the 27th of February, as we're closing out the month of February, folks. Certainly want to thank you all for joining us here on Facebook Live via StreamYard, also on the Jersey First YouTube page, in addition to Instagram and Twitter, folks, and also on Vimeo, obviously where episodes will be streaming from Jersey First TV. Folks, as you can tell, I'm rocking that Rutgers red and that Devils red. Let me have a little tea for my New Jersey Devils. Great win on Saturday night against that team from the cesspool of North America, the city of Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. I'd like to call it something else, but it is a PG program, folks. Great win against the Philadelphia Flyers on the commemoration of the 20th anniversary of the last Stanley Cup for my New Jersey Devils. They're looking pretty good this year, folks. I don't know. Maybe a championship is coming our way. I don't know. Maybe. Always good things coming around with my New Jersey Devils. So I'm rocking that Devils red. And I'm also rocking that Rutgers red, folks, sweeping that team from Pennsylvania, Penn State, sweeping the Nittany Lions. And, of course, the Rutgers men's basketball team inching every so closer to a bid for March Madness in the NCAA men's basketball tournament to represent the Big Ten. Rutgers is rocking and rolling, folks. My Devils are rocking and rolling. That's why I love wearing red here on the broadcast. And certainly, folks, always remember to check out all the exceptional programming brought to you by Jersey First TV. Make sure you follow us on all of our great social media platforms. Make sure you like Real Talk and Jersey First on Facebook. Of course, follow it on Instagram and Twitter. And also subscribe to Jersey First TV on YouTube and wherever you get your podcasts, whether it's on Spotify or SoundCloud. Download them from any PC, Mac, smartphone, or tablet. Take them with you, folks, whether you're, again, going to the gym to work off those pounds, whether it's walking your dog, doing homework, doing your bills. Hey, everyone loves tuning in to Jersey First, and of course also on Jersey First TV. I can't not say enough, ladies and gentlemen, how proud I am to be on the Jersey First TV team with my outstanding colleagues. Of course, Elizabeth Nader. New episodes of the Nader Narrative broadcast every Thursday, as well as Bridging the Gap with AJ Malilo and Stephen Rombolo, of course, every Thursday as well. Every Monday night live here on Real Talk. You can check out brand new episodes via Jersey First TV as well. Folks, you know, it is 6 p.m. here on the East Coast. So, of course, you know what that means also. It means that all the haters are certainly running to their TVs. They're running to their smartphones, their PCs, their Macs, because, again, folks, the haters just cannot help themselves, and they love to tune in every Monday night to Real Talk right here with Jersey First TV. Now, folks, again, as I mentioned to you, the reason this show continues to do exceptionally well, again, all organic traffic, nothing boosted, nothing sponsored or paid for, folks, is because of you, my loyal viewing audience that takes the time to tune in every Monday night. Of course, to share the replays. Folks, remember, sharing is caring here on the program. But really, the biggest significant factor about why the show is a success as it is, as we continue in year two, is because of the outstanding guests that I bring you every single week. And it is election season here in New Jersey, ladies and gentlemen. All 120 legislative seats are up for grabs. All 40 state Senate seats are up for grabs, and all 80 state assembly seats are up for grabs. So, of course, it's a wonderful opportunity for Republicans to win a lot of seats in Central and South Jersey specifically, where there are a lot of competitive districts. And one of them is in LD5. And joining me tonight, one of the assembly candidates in the 5th legislative district, folks, my good friend and yours, Joe Miller, joins us here on Real Talk. Joe, how are you?
How's it going, Fernando? Thank you for having me.
Good to well, Joe, it's my pleasure to have you on here. Once again, happy Monday, and I appreciate you joining us here on the broadcast. Joe, you know, one of the things that, again, for folks, for our audience at home that maybe is not familiar with sort of the demographics of the 5th Legislative District. It really is a district that covers a lot of Camden County, consists of townships such as Audubon, Audubon Park, Barrington, Belmar, that's spelled Belmawr. Obviously, we all remember Belmar as the home of the Attilas Gym during the COVID months in 2020. Certainly Frank and Ian were very defiant against the emperor during the COVID restrictions. Obviously, that's where Belmar really got put on the map, as they say. Brooklawn, Camden, Gloucester City, Haddon Heights, Lawnside, Magnolia, Mount Ephraim, Rumenade, and Woodland, as well as municipalities in Gloucester County, which include Deptford Township, Harrison Township, Mantua Township, Winona, Westville, and Woodbury. A very diverse district, to say the least, Joe, for sure. One of the questions I'm sure you're getting asked a lot on the campaign trail, Joe, is you're certainly, I would guess you're not happy with the current representation in the 5th Legislative District. So is that sort of the reason why you're running?
Really, Fernando, it really is. Right now in the 5th Legislative District, there's really no accountability with our elected officials that we have today. You could see it in the past primary race and in our Camden County Commissioner race. There was Commissioner Rodriguez who actually won the primary and then dropped out. And that was all behind closed doors and basically just no transparency with the public. And that has to change. And it really needs an elected official that will do so.
Now, when we think about certainly the incumbents, we look at State Senator Nilsa Cruz Perez. And I have thoughts about Nilsa in a minute, which I'll share. But certainly, we think about Assemblyman William Moan Jr. and Assemblyman William Spearman. It seems like these are assemblymen that have just been rubber stamps for a lot of what's gone on in Trenton. Irresponsible spending, sort of enabling the woke agenda that seems to be pervasive in Trenton. Obviously, they're following the senator's lead, but you would think that, both Spearman and Moen Jr. Would be sort of thinking on their own 2 feet, but that seems to not be the case in the 5th Legislative District. Is that fair to say?
Correct. You would think at this point in age, definitely with Spearman, because he has been in office for such a long time that you would think he'd be able to stand on his own 2 feet. But nowadays, he really is just doing whatever the rest of his party and whatever Perez is stating and telling him to do, really.
When we think about this district, and I just ran up all the townships, and again, I could be wrong based on redistricting. Maybe some of the townships have changed in the 5th Legislative District. I'm not sure about that. I'm just sort of going by really what's here. But what's also interesting, though, Joe, is the makeup registration-wise in the district itself. I mean, we're looking at a district that leans heavily Democrat. Apparently, 46% of registered voters are Democrats. Only 16% are Republicans, but a very large 36% are registered independents. It seems like Democrats have been running roughshod over Central and South Jersey with registrations, but I would argue that there's a little bit of a trend in the other direction for conservatives and Republicans, especially in this sort of election season and this political climate.
Yeah, in this climate right now, we are seeing that a lot of independents are really needing to come out and vote as well, just because with the amount of Democrats that are coming out, there are just too many of them really in the 5th Legislative District and not enough registered Republicans. So we really have to hit the Republicans and the independents as well, just by really advocating for things as mail-in voting. We really cannot be afraid of that anymore. It seems that Republicans in the past kind of shied away from mail-in voting, but this day and age, especially New Jersey, we need to continue with it, and we need to be okay with it to get those middle of the line and the independent voters out for us.
I'm glad you brought that up, and we'll get to that in a minute in the sense of the way electoral politics works in New Jersey. But you brought up a good notion, again, about independence, and I've talked about this with other guests, with both Republicans and Democrats. Back to 2021, Republicans made some gains. They unseated, at the time, Senate President Steve Sweeney. Ed Durr pulled up one of the biggest upsets, I would argue, in New Jersey electoral history.
Absolutely.
And the entire ticket did in LD3. Certainly he's up for re-election, so are his assembly running mates. We saw 9 new Republican women going to the state assembly in 2021. I think Republicans were emboldened, certainly. The emperor, Governor Murphy, was unpopular in a lot of pockets of the state, which is why that race was so close. I mean, I was the only journalist that called that race as close as it was. Everyone said, Fernando, you're crazy. Why would you say that? And I said, hey, that race is going to be between 2 to 3 points. And I was right. It was about 3 percentage points because, again, the emperor was vastly unpopular in a lot of pockets of the state. Now, unfortunately, what ended up happening was, as unpopular as the emperor was, Republicans remained fickle, and only 35% of registered Republicans came out to vote during that election. If only so much as 10% came out to vote more, we're probably talking about Governor Jack Ciattarelli in this election cycle trying to help Republicans win seats. And again, I think that's just a reminder about how fickle Republicans can be during election season. Oh, it's not my brand of Republican, or it's not my type of Republican. Folks, Democrats don't get that tribal. If there's a D next to your name, hardcore Democrats come out and vote. Republicans, I would argue, have to be that tribal as well, especially if they want to win some seats during this election season, when not so much in North Jersey. I would argue not North Jersey, but Central and South Jersey, though, Joe, Democrats are vulnerable. There's a lot of vulnerable Democrats in legislative districts all throughout Central and South Jersey. That's why your race is competitive. That's why your district is competitive, as well as many others in Central and South Jersey. It just seems like Republicans sometimes get in their own way. They're like, they see the end zone, they got the ball, they either get stopped at the 1 yard line or they fumble it. And I'm really concerned as a conservative about that this year.
It really boils down to when it comes down to the primary election. We really need to, if we have a candidate in favor in the primary and they lose, we still need to be okay with the one that does succeed and go on to the general election. And I feel like that is what's causing the division in any of the elections on a local level to the state level.
No, you're absolutely right about that. And I would argue also, too, that, I get it. Listen, I'm a staunch fiscal conservative. I think on some social issues, it depends on what you quiz me on. I could be somewhat conservative. I could be maybe more of a centrist. But in this election season, again, and let's just look at some numbers here. Again, folks, we're looking at the highest property taxes in the country at about an average of $9,200. Again, leads the nation in terms of the highest property taxes anywhere in the United States. And it certainly fluctuates. Where I live up in Hudson County in LD 33, I walk 2 blocks, Joe, I see Manhattan. Okay. I have the best in the world, I would argue, looking at Manhattan. Okay. My property taxes remain relatively stable. See, I'm very fortunate because my mayor is also my state senator. So he makes it a point to ensure that property taxes remain stable and remain reasonable. That's not the case. We're seeing, I just drive maybe 10 minutes north towards the George Washington Bridge into Bergen County. We're seeing municipalities with $12,000, $13,000, $14,000, $15,000, even as high as $16,000. Travel a little bit south, going to Short Hills, for example. Okay, we're talking about over $20,000. So the idea that property taxes are the highest in the country and they fluctuate the way they do is just a reminder that the far left, those Democrats in Trenton that never heard of an economics course, that never picked up an economics book ever in their undergraduate studies, those are the ones that are hijacking the party, not the moderates, not the centrist Democrats. Like, for example, where I live, my state senator is a centrist Democrat. He's sort of a blue-collar, pragmatic Democrat. That's not the case in Trenton. We got far left Democrats hijacking the party, and it shows with spending and property taxes as high as they are. Where am I wrong here?
And it's a shame because all the property taxes are skyrocketing, yet nothing is getting done. Especially down here in South Jersey, in our area, we have one of the highest property taxes in the nation, and still we see our infrastructure, nothing's getting repaired, and it's still just getting dilapidated day by day.
Absolutely. And folks, again, if you just joined us right now, it's 6:13 here on the East Coast on Jersey First TV via Facebook Live on StreamYard, also on the Jersey First YouTube page. My guest this week, a candidate for the state assembly in the 5th legislative district, folks. Joe Miller joins us here right now. Joe, let's move on to ultimately you winning the primary. Should you win the primary, go on to win this November, which I know I'm rooting for, certainly. What would State Assemblyman Joe Miller sink his teeth into upon taking office in January of 2024?
My first action would be to really take a look at our accountability with our spending. We just have, as you call him, our Emperor Murphy is really just giving out money and really not looking at where it's going. You look at the COVID money that he was giving out. He gave it out to a lot of individuals that really weren't struggling as much as the small businesses that were getting shut down day by day. And he was just letting them get shut down and providing little to no assistance. So I'd want to see more accountability with the Democrats and their leadership and make sure the money's going where it has to.
It's interesting to bring up money and COVID money. What really infuriated me last year, and also, the Secretary of the Treasury was just as culpable. This woman wouldn't know, Ramapo College in Bergen County from the Electoral College. I mean, that's how incompetent this Secretary of the Treasury is in Trenton. What bothered me, though, Joe, is the audacity of the emperor and this woman to insult us and say, well, we're working on a surplus here. We are operating on a surplus, and we're going to see what we're going to do. No. Here's an economics lesson for everybody at home, especially those on the left and, progressives that are all about, equity and equality, right? Here's an economics lesson, okay? When you borrow, okay, against down the line, and you're kicking the can down the road, and you're borrowing in Trenton, when you're getting federal dollars for COVID relief, and you're not cutting any spending, that's not a surplus. You're getting money, again, from the federal government and from borrowing. The idea that the emperor and, those in positions of power, like the Senate president or the Assembly speaker, said, you know what, we need to cut down on spending. You know what, this agency, like the Department of New Americans that coddles illegals every day, okay, cut that out, shave it, get rid of these people, okay? The idea of giving COVID checks to illegals, the idea of, I don't know, again, taking dollars out of the state budget, taxpayer dollars, and putting it into a legal fund to help illegals get legal representation to fight deportation. Again, this is where you can cut spending. Now, if you did that, Emperor Murphy and the far left in the legislature, then I would say, yes, that's a surplus because you cut wasteful spending. Borrowing and getting money from Washington, that's not a surplus. It pissed me off to no end that nobody in the liberal media in New Jersey called out the emperor on this. I was the only one doing it.
And no one else really called out. It was called out for about a day or two, maybe, how they found out some of the spending went to getting, I think it was 9 new SUVs for Murphy and his administration. But really, that hit the news for about a day, and then it was like nothing happened. He just wasted COVID money to help himself, and that was it.
Again, to get new SUVs, to maybe, I don't know, go to dinner?
Just to transport themselves to point A, point B.
Yeah, to go to dinners and find out if he's someone that should be running for president. Are you crazy? No way. It's interesting, though, Joe, because when we look at, listen, in this election cycle, I think that Republicans need to do a better job with messaging. What I mean by that is, listen, last year, after a good turnout in 2021, again, winning some assembly seats, flipping a state Senate seat, you would think that Republicans would be emboldened in 2022 to flip as many as 3 congressional districts. That didn't happen. They retained the 2 congressional districts, one along the shore, one in South Jersey with Representative Vandrew, which, by the way, folks, breaking news here on the show, coming up on Monday, June 5th, Representative Vandrew will be on Real Talk with yours truly. So put that on your calendars, by the way. Now, again, Representative, now Tom Kean was able to flip that district, but there were 2 other competitive districts that Republicans could have flipped. That didn't happen. And whether it wasn't running good candidates, which I think they were, for whatever reason, the messaging got lost. And I'm just concerned that this year, Republicans, again, and I'm not auditioning for a position with the NJGOP. I'm not looking to be an operative or some sort of, campaign manager. I'm good. I'm good working in education and media. I don't need a job from the NJGOP. So let me be clear about it. So I'm going to give you some unsolicited advice to everybody at the NJGOP. The messaging has to change. We know that economically illiterate Democrats in positions of power are ruining the state. That's not enough. You need to do better outreach. You need to mobilize better. You need to embrace vote by mail. We know that far left Democrats are making the state expensive. We know they waste, spending. We know they engage in wasteful spending. It's not enough about that, Joe. It's got to be better. How do you plan to win over independents? Because ultimately, that's who you need on your side to flip this seat.
I think it really goes back to what you said, Fernando, with the mail-in voting. Really, a lot of people aren't educated about it. And in New Jersey, they're not really aware that if they don't do the mail-in and they go to the ballot, a lot of them are just turned away because even the poll workers aren't as well educated because they're not aware that they need to fill out provisional ballot when they go. They end up just turning down Republican voters and thinking, that's it, I'm out this election. So it's all education and just getting the word out and getting the message out to get them out in November.
Do you feel that for some reason maybe the NJGOP isn't doing as good of a job on this messaging? Because, again, you said it perfectly. Other Republican candidates I've interviewed this election cycle have told me the same thing. I understand. I like voting the day of. I think there are ways to fix voting. I would argue make Election Day a holiday. I mean, I think that's how you really help sort of eliminate a lot of the problems and sort of the discrepancies about voting and scheduling and everything else. I don't have an issue so much with early voting per se. Obviously, it has to be monitored, but vote by mail isn't going anywhere. Democrats in Trenton made a point to ensure that that's the case. Republicans have to get smarter. It's not just about, no, vote in person. No, embrace it. It's a part of the voting pattern in New Jersey. We see that it's more convenient to vote by mail. I get all that. Do we want transparency? Do we want credibility? Do we want integrity? Of course. Who doesn't want voter integrity? But it's not just only that, Joe. My concern is reaching out to Hispanics. And again, I'm the last person to ever preach about identity politics. But you need to reach out because, again, the census data showed us something very, very easy to understand, okay? New Jersey, like the country itself, it's not getting whiter. It's not getting blacker. It's getting browner. It's more people like Fernando Uribe and my parents and my family and others. We are becoming soon to be the majority in New Jersey. For whatever reason, Republicans do a piss poor job of emboldening more Hispanic voters to say, hey, come over to our side. We're going to try to shave off wasteful spending. We're going to try to maybe lower taxes. We're going to try to stop investing in these stupid woke programs in Trenton. But it seems like it just can't be Democrats are bad. We get that some Democrats in Trenton are bad. We know this. There's got to be better outreach. Is that fair to say?
Definitely. I don't think that being on the attack really isn't helping in any election anymore. You need to show the constituents that you're there to help and that you are there to represent them all. Nowadays, it seems that a lot of it is to blame with the just overall liberal media, really, because they're making it seem that Republicans aren't for the majority of the people and just for a minority group. However, it really is the other way around. In my eyes, it just seems that Democrats aren't really as accepting, and Republicans can be accepting of if you aren't, because there are different views. There's a fiscally conservative, there's some are more middle of the line Republicans, and they're really more adaptable. So if you can get that message out that you're more adaptable and really accepting of all walks, then you really can get the Hispanic and Latino votes out for the Republicans as well.
Joe, have you reached out to the incumbents who I know have been in office for some time with concerns about constituent services? Obviously, we're out of COVID now. It's 3 years later. We're officially out of COVID. Some sense of normalcy back in New Jersey. Have you had any difficulties trying to reach out to the incumbents, whether it's issues about property taxes, whether it's about constituent services, infrastructure? What's been your experience like reaching out to the incumbents in recent years?
I have reached out to the incumbents in Camden County in a few years, actually, and never got a response, never got any email response even. And it's funny now, even though the pandemic is over and everything's opened back up, the town hall meetings in my district are still being held virtually. And
wow.
They're not in person, and they're actually in the middle of the day, I believe, on Tuesdays at like noon. So really, no one from the public will even be able to attend, really, because they'll be working and doing other things.
Well, they do that on purpose because they know that conservatives and Republicans are working at noon. So obviously, whatever part of the voter base in LD5, obviously, for people that are being home or whatever,
they can go ahead and rubber stamp it.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that seems to be the practice when you see that, obviously, during the middle of the day. We talk about certainly the incumbents. I think that's what motivated you to run. We look at, obviously, the others in LD5. Are you confident in the sense of your messaging, Joe, that you're going to be able to flip the seat along with the rest of the ticket?
I think we will be able to this election cycle. I think enough people are fed up this day and age just because they see just on even at a national level, we're seeing that they're saying things are getting better when it really was already okay in the first place. Take a look at gas prices. We have Democrats saying that we had the most amazing drop in history. However, it's because we had the most drastic increase in such a short period of time. They're not really looking at what caused the success that they're really perceiving to have.
Sure. Joe, is infrastructure an issue and a problem you'd like to address should you win?
100%. Yes. Infrastructure.
I mean, what specifically about infrastructure concerns you, though?
I know our roads are completely just getting dilapidated day by day. You go around and every state road really is just having construction that's been going on for years, or it's just not getting done, and it's just causing more accidents and more wear and tear on each individual's vehicle and causing them more money out of their pockets.
I mean, it drives me crazy because, again, I think maybe sometimes it's more a municipal problem than, let's just say a district problem, where, municipalities are using bad salt. They're putting down bad asphalt. So, yeah, you can pave roads all you want, but if you're using bad materials, the first snowstorm, again, we're supposed to get snow this evening into tomorrow morning. We'll see. I mean, it doesn't do any good to pave the roads with bad materials when then you have to salt them and then they're cracking again. It just seems like the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again, expecting a different result. And it seems like that's what's very pervasive in state government. You see it with Governor Murphy, and you see it with, again, the far left in Trenton that has hijacked the legislature for some time now. Again, reckless spending, acquiescing to like woke nonsense, thinking that, social justice stupidity, overlaps property tax. Like, again, and I never apologize for this. Like, I don't care about pronouns. They're the least important thing to me. I care about property taxes. That's what's important to people like homeowners like me and people who watch this show. The idea of acquiescing to 1% of the population because we have to be more inclusive. No one's saying we can't be inclusive, but bending over backwards for 1% of the population is madness. But that is what seems to be sort of the woke insanity that's pervasive in Trenton. And I think Republicans need to do a better job with hammering that message home. It didn't seem to work last year. On a national level, there were a lot of bad candidates running. I would argue that we should have won more House seats. That wasn't the case. We should have won the Senate had we run better candidates. We all saw a lot of atrocious. I mean, Joe, just drive half hour west of you into Pennsylvania. I mean, people in Pennsylvania are idiots. They voted a mummy into office in the state Senate. This guy's useless. And now, not just that race, but the governor's race in Pennsylvania went blue as well. Guess what? That governor is now going to probably appoint a temporary U.S. senator because this mummy, I don't know, is depressed for whatever reason. I don't know. And I think that shows the importance of running good candidates. Republicans didn't do a great job nationally. They're doing a good job in your district, obviously, with your ticket. I'm just concerned that the NJGOP might fall into that trap with not running as many good candidates as they can in an election cycle this year and in 25, where they can make enough gains to win majorities. Again, in the state Senate right now, it's 24-16 Democrats, and in the Assembly, it's 46-34. These are winnable margins to flip seats in. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, we just really have to change the NJGOP's take on really what direction we're going. We really got to get our local levels built up and get them strong and well united, and then go from there. Because we're seeing a lot of disconnect locally, and that's what's really causing failure throughout the state. It's really just making us just get deprived of it little by little, and we really just need to have the local council, city councils, mayors, school boards, have them filled with Republicans.
Okay, fair enough. Joe, before I let you go, we're about to reach 6:30 here on the East Coast. Before I let you go, just want to give our audience a little bit about who Joe Miller is, not just the candidate, but the guy. So here's some word association. You let me know what you like, okay? Baseball season's coming up, spring training, Mets or Yankees?
I'd want to say neither. I'd say Phillies.
Oh, ouch. Okay. I'm sorry to hear that. Okay.
I have to say it.
Okay. NFL, Eagles, Giants, or Jets?
Eagles.
Well, I'm sorry to hear about that. What happened a couple weeks ago. If you saw my
it was a close one.
No, it was, and I had a lot of fun as a Cowboys fan singing, cry, Eagles, cry,
Oh,
uh,
yeah.
on
So
the
you guys
road,
love that one.
on the road to misery. I'm sorry, I just had to do it. But,
Had to do it.
Devils, Rangers, Islanders, or Flyers?
I'd say Flyers. Gonna have to go all Philly teams.
Okay, fair enough. Steak or chicken?
Steak or chicken? We'll do chicken.
Okay, cool. Hard liquor, red wine, or beer?
Liquor. Let's go Scotch.
Oh, very nice, my man. Okay, good stuff. During the summertime, going to a beach or day drinking at a beer garden?
Always a beach.
Okay.
Always a beach. Gotta go fishing.
Okay. Best, I guess, night spot you like to go to in Philly?
I'd say just walking Center City, going up and down South Street, just hanging out there.
Okay, fair enough. Well, South Street, that's rough. Oh, that's rough.
No, it's a good time. It's not bad.
No, listen, I go to the Cowboys-Eagles game every year. I wear my Cowboy gear. I get verbally.
Oh, you get mauled then.
Oh, it's awful. I feel I need a tetanus shot when I leave that cesspool, but go figure. Real quick, we just finished really, President's Week here. Favorite American president?
Ronald Reagan, I would say.
Why?
I just really felt that he really could connect the people. There's really a lot of division when he took office, and I feel that a really majority of the people supported him. Even both sides, even there were a few Democrats, even with his conservative methodologies, that he was still supported.
Real quick, iPhone or Android?
I have an iPhone, but I feel like I wouldn't mind switching to Android, but iPhone for now.
Absolutely. Stay with iPhone, dude. I'm an Apple snob. Trust me, you can't go wrong with an Apple
Can't
device.
go wrong with it.
PlayStation or Xbox?
Xbox.
Ooh, ouch. Okay, interesting. Folks, that's Joe Miller, not just a candidate, but the regular guy. But Joe, before I let you go, I want to thank you for your time. Excellent conversation with you. Certainly our audience learning more about your candidacy. Any links or any social media up for your campaign real quick?
We still have the Facebook page up and going right now, but it'd be Joe Miller for Legislative District 5.
Okay, fair enough. And any fundraisers or events you'll be doing soon during the election season?
Not yet. We still have some in the making, but right now we're working with the Camden County GOP as well. We have some happy hours coming up in the future.
Okay. What's up? Where's the invite? What's going on here? What's up?
We'll be sending it to you. I'll get you there. You'll get the next one, Fernando. Absolutely.
All right, good stuff. Before I let you go, Joe, again, thank you for your time. You're a gentleman. I want to wish you the best of luck. I'm certainly pulling for you. Let's flip LD5. Let's flip it red. We've had far woke, far left Democrats in that district for far too long. Let's make that seat red as my jacket, hopefully this November. But I think certainly your candidacy is inspiring and one that I'll be keeping an eye on for the remainder of this election season. So I want to thank you for your time. I'll give you the last word here tonight on Real Talk.
Likewise. Thank you, Fernando. Thank you for having me. And let's just get New Jersey red and let's get it going this November.
Well, again, best of luck to you folks. He is Joe Miller, running for the state assembly in LD5. My guest tonight here on Real Talk via Jersey First TV. Joe, God bless you. Stay healthy, and we'll talk to you again soon here on Real Talk.
You too.
Take care. See you guys. Have a good night.
Bye.
Folks, great episode there with Joe Miller, again, running in LD5. A very interesting district. I think one you want to keep an eye out for, folks, during this election season. Folks, before I let you go, let me finish with a little commentary here as we're about to wrap up. And something that really sort of got my attention over the weekend. And I don't know about you, but, let me preface this by saying, because I think, some people might sort of take it the wrong way. Let me preface this by saying that I like Terrence McDonald. Okay. He's a guy that cut his teeth up here in Hudson County, working for the Jersey Journal, I believe also working for the Hudson Reporter, a guy who I respect as a journalist. And there are not a lot of journalists that I respect in New Jersey. We all know that sort of the liberal media echo chamber here in New Jersey is it's a cesspool. We all know the guilty parties. I talk about them often. I like to roast them and cook them whenever possible. But I'm not going to do that to Terrence tonight. I just sort of want to maybe give a little bit of a cautionary piece of advice to Terrence, because I think he's better than what I'm about to sort of illustrate here. Now, again, let me preface it by saying I respect Terrence. We're not friends. I think we're gentlemen with each other when we've run into each other. Maybe not a guy I go out and have a beer with because we just don't live near each other. And I respect him. I've always respected his work. He's an exceptional writer. He's a very gifted reporter, great sources, has been able to get out there, break exclusives over the years. Not a bad thing to say about him per se as a journalist. My concerns, though, are being the editor of the New Jersey Monitor. Now, again, I read the New Jersey Monitor quite often. It's one of the few, I guess, if any, news sites in New Jersey that remain credible and, to the best of my knowledge, pretty objective. But I saw a column over the weekend that kind of concerns me, Terrence. And again, this is sort of my plea to you. You don't have to listen to me. Again, we differ on almost everything ideologically. Okay, I lean right, you lean left. I'm a fiscal conservative to some extent, maybe somewhat of a social conservative. You're not. You lean left. You're a liberal Democrat, probably. And you are a liberal, I think, in many of your sort of political stances, which is cool. That's not my bone to pick with you tonight. My bone to pick is I don't want the New Jersey Monitor, which, again, for some time now, since its inception, to be, I guess, to remain an objective news site. Okay. But when you decide to like publish columns or editorials like the one recently by Simone Krause, what it's like to be transgender, Terrence, what you're doing is you're falling into the rabbit hole and you're being no better than bad news sites like Insider NJ, right? Resident Virtue Signaler, Jay Lassiter, GM Pete Onelia, editor Max Pizzaro, who live on all this woke nonsense and, you know, virtue signaling about the LGBTQ plus 123 community. Again, I expect that out of Insider NJ because they live to virtue signal. I expect that out of NJ.com and the Star Ledger as they continue to beg people for money, right? I just got an email yesterday. Please subscribe to NJ.com for $1. Folks, spoiler alert, NJ.com and the Star Ledger aren't worth $1. You could probably go and buy a scratch-off ticket at your local grocery store and play the lottery, and that's more productive use of your time than paying $1 into NJ.com. Same thing with NorthJersey.com as well, and the Bergen Record. I keep getting emails as well. Please subscribe to NorthJersey.com and the Bergen Record. Please, it's only $1. Again, not worth $1. You're better off going to the bodega, getting a scratch-off, and maybe winning $2 or $3. That's more productive use of your time. So I expect these sort of columns, Terrence, from these awful news sites like Insider NJ, like NJ Spotlight News with Uncle Dave, right? I expect all this woke nonsense and this virtue signaling about the LGBTQ community, what it's like to be transgender. What bothered me about this column, again, and, you know, we're sort of, you know, looking at the author here, talking about, for example, in 2017, I retired and started my transition. I lost the majority of my family support and friends. Well, duh, yeah, when you make some sort of outlandish life decision like this, you're going to get backlash. Sorry, that's just the truth. I was pushed out of the dojo I trained for 33 years and taught for 26 when I came out. Listen, I'm sorry that happened to Simone. I don't know what to tell you. Okay? That just happens. Again, as long as you're not, no one's committing a hate crime against you, no one's bullying you or harassing you. I don't know what to tell you, Simone. That's just the way it is, unfortunately. Okay? Under the 44th president, trans people gain a lot of rights. We all know Barack Obama loved to coddle the LGBTQ community. So much so that, hey, when Private Manning decided to have a sex change in prison, right, for violating national security secrets, guess who paid for it? Yours truly, as well as all of you. The 45th president tried to erase those rights, which is not true. Again, this is where people like Simone and far left and all the woke crowds like to sort of vilify the 45th president. That wasn't the case. And in 2020, finalized a regulation erasing protections for transgender patients by healthcare professionals. No, Simone, that's taxpayer-funded gender reassignment surgery. You want to go change your gender? God bless you. Go ahead. That's your business. I shouldn't have to pay for it. And the fact that Americans object to it doesn't make me a homophobe, doesn't make me a transphobe. It makes me an American that doesn't want to acquiesce or coddle to this. You want to do that? God bless you. Use your own money. Okay? You want to engage in self-mutilation? God bless you. I shouldn't have to pay for it. And again, that doesn't make me hateful. It doesn't make me a bigot. It makes me a regular American that doesn't want to acquiesce to this nonsense. Now, again, sort of going through in 2020, state government started to legislate us out of existence. That's not true, Simone. Stop being blatantly dishonest. And it's gotten worse each year. In 23 states, I can be denied housing, public accommodations, credit, and lending services for being trans. 14 states have banned using Medicaid for gender-affirming care because it's taxpayer-funded. You want to change your gender, you want to chop off whatever, that's your business. I shouldn't have to pay for it. And again, it doesn't make me hateful. But the problem is that people like Simone and those in the LGBT community and the woke crowd think that they're entitled to taxpayer dollars being spent for whatever they want because they demand it. Because they're going to huff and puff, they're going to have a hissy fit. It doesn't work that way. Simone, you need to get with the program here. Okay? 6 states have outlawed this type of care for those under 20, right? Though New Jersey affords me a lot of protections, it's the main reason I retired here. It's not immune to anti-trans legislation. In October, for example, State Senator Edward Durr, a Republican out of Gloucester County, introduced a bill targeting youth gender-affirming care. No, Simone, stop being blatantly dishonest. It's about children, okay? It's not about grown-ass adults like you, okay? You need to get that straight. But the reason I bring this up, though, is because, Terrence, you should know better than to give a platform to this nonsense, okay? You're emboldening people like this author by publishing columns like this. And again, you're better than this, Terrence. I know you. I'm not saying we're friends. I'm not saying I know you intimately and personally, but you're better than this. I expect this sort of nonsense, again, out of Insider NJ, out of NJ Spotlight News, out of NorthJersey.com. Again, because all those people over there, they live to bitch and they bitch to live because they love the virtue signal. I expect better out of you, Terrence. You're a real reporter, okay? You rolled up your sleeves, cut your teeth here in Hudson County and then in Bergen County, and now you're the editor of a reputable news site. Keep it reputable. Stop publishing nonsense like this and stop enabling this. And also, too, it lends itself to sort of a bigger problem that exists, not just in New Jersey, but nationally, right? We all know what's going on in Trenton, right? With, and again, correct me if I'm wrong here, folks, with what's going on with the ELEC Commission, right? Apparently, one amendment that's being tucked into the Elections Transparency Act is to give the governor the power to appoint the executive director, once again, of the Election Law Enforcement Commission, the agency that oversees all elections in New Jersey from school boards up to gubernatorial races. Now, again, Bruce Afran, an attorney for the ELEC's current executive director, Jeff Brindle, asserts that the move is just a campaign by the governor to force Brindle's resignation because of an email Brindle sent to staffers regarding National Coming Out Day. The story was first reported by Politico, right? Now, again, the meeting stems from an ELEC staffer's email advertising National Coming Out Day. On October 11th, Brindle replied to the staffer, "Are you coming out?" with a question mark. No Lincoln or Washington's birthday, but we can celebrate National Coming Out Day, again, according to what was obtained, a copy in the email via NorthJersey.com. Now, Afran rightfully wrote, "This is not a hostile remark. It's simply a political opinion. You don't dismiss someone or force a resignation after 40 years of dedicated service to the state over an opinion in an email of that nature." Now, again, the reason I bring this up is because, again, it acquiesces to what I just talked about with the New Jersey Monitor. It seems like that news site, and again, I hope I'm wrong because I hope Terrence doesn't cave to this crowd, but what we see, folks, on not just a national, but here in New Jersey, is this sort of incessant fixation to acquiesce to 1% of the population, okay? I say it all the time on this show, and I'll keep saying it. During this election cycle, it's not about pronouns. It's about property taxes. I could care less. I could give 2 drops of piss about pronouns, okay? While I'm all for inclusivity and acceptance, that doesn't mean that we have to bend over backwards for 1% of the population, because that's what the LGBTQ community represents in a country of 400 million people. So while I expect, again, Insider NJ, NJ Spotlight News, NorthJersey.com, the Star Ledger, NJ.com to fall for this nonsense and sort of, carry buckets of water, I don't expect that out of the New Jersey Monitor. And also, too, did he say anything wrong? The governor now wants to sort of push this narrative that it's anti-gay. No, it's not anti-gay. I don't care about National Coming Out Day. I get it. I'm a straight male. It doesn't affect me. But I don't care about it. In a climate where where we are paying over $3 for gas, where inflation is still up the roof, food prices are suffocating us, okay? We're sending billions of dollars to Ukraine where we don't need to be there, okay? Russia could wipe that land off the planet for all I care, okay? We should be worried about Americans, not sending billions of dollars to a country that does nothing for us. Let NATO worry about that. Let England and Poland and France and Germany worry about what Russia's doing to Ukraine. I don't care what's going on there. I never have and I never will. Worry about Americans in a climate where, the president of the United States thinks it's wise on President's Day to go to Ukraine instead of going to East Palestine, Ohio, to help Americans that are struggling with clean water, clean supplies. That's what should be important right now, okay? Or a transportation secretary that's more concerned about his paternity leave, or a president that's more concerned about, I need to have the most LGBT people in my cabinet. I need to have the most inclusive and diverse cabinet in presidential history. Who cares? I could care less about that, and so do regular Americans. That's what we should be worried about, okay? Not about this nonsense, what is transgender. Who cares? In this election cycle, nobody cares about it. And again, that doesn't make me a homophobe. It doesn't make me a bigot. It makes me a taxpayer and an American. That's what regular people care about. Those are kitchen table issues, okay? The audacity of the governor to think that this guy is anti-gay. No, I don't care about National Coming Out Day. It's not important to me. You know what's not important to me either? All this other virtue signaling holidays. I don't care about it. It doesn't affect me. It doesn't influence my life one way or another. It's not important to me. Now, if it's important to you folks, God bless you. Celebrate them. Post it on your social media. Have a banner on your house for all I care. It's not important to me. And it's not important to millions of other Americans. But again, this sort of woke nonsense is being shoved down our throat. And if you don't believe in it, and if you don't support it, you're a bigot, you're a homophobe, you're a transphobe, you're a xenophobe, you're an Islamophobe. Folks, I'm none of those things. The problem is, as soon as you say something that doesn't sit well with people, here comes the blankist and the blankphobe. So again, getting back to what I think should be still good journalism in the New Jersey Monitor, Terrence, again, I respect you. Do better, man. Don't fall prey like these other news sites. Stop publishing nonsense like this. This isn't important right now. It really isn't. Okay? In a climate, as I said, where gas is over $3, where property taxes are the highest in the country, okay? Where food prices are still skyrocketing, okay? Where Trenton is engaging in reckless spending. Focus on that. Focus on a president that's cognitively declining. Focus on the fact that this guy chooses to help foreign countries and not Americans. That's what you should be writing on, not enabling columns like this. Come on, Terrence, you're better than that. At least I think so. I'll give you the benefit of the doubt. You haven't fallen prey like these other news sites have. But again, do better, man. You're better than this. Don't go down this rabbit hole, because once you do, you're never going to climb out from it, because you'll just be predisposed to always feeling the need to talk about it. So again, Terrence, good guy. You're a gentleman. Love your work. Just do better, man. Don't fall prey to this stuff. New Jersey Monitor is better than that. Don't be like these other news sites. Be the New Jersey Monitor. Thus far, a very good and reputable, objective news site. Stay that way. Don't fall for this woke nonsense. Don't look to coddle whatever other social justice nonsense. Don't do that, Terrence. You're better than that. At least I think so. And that's our show for this week. Once again, I want to thank Representative Joe Miller, say simply candidate Joe Miller, who's running in the 5th Legislative District, all the way down in South Jersey. Again, a great episode with him. Certainly, folks, sharing is caring. Always remember to do that in all of the social media that entails Jersey First TV. Make sure you like us on Facebook. And, of course, follow us on Instagram and Twitter, as well as subscribing on YouTube, in addition to wherever you get your podcast through SoundCloud or Spotify. Do that, folks. Make sure that you take Jersey First with you wherever you go. And I can't say enough, ladies and gentlemen, about the outstanding team that I'm a part of with Jersey First. Of course, Elizabeth Nader, the host of the Nader Narrative. New episodes air every Thursday night via jerseyfirst.org/TV, and also Bridging the Gap with AJ Malilo and Stephen Rombolo. Exceptional talents, folks, great teammates. I'm proud to be on the Jersey First team. Make sure you like us, of course, on Facebook, and of course, follow us on Instagram and Twitter. Again, folks, I can't thank you enough for joining us here on as we wrap up the month of February. Thank you all for always supporting Jersey First. Of course, sharing is caring. Share it on your Facebook, on your Instagram, Twitter. Obviously, episodes will be available on Vimeo and certainly as well on the Jersey First YouTube page, as well as on Facebook. And always remember, ladies and gentlemen, if it's educational, engaging, and entertaining, it's always Jersey First TV. And of course, if it's unfiltered, unbiased, and unafraid, you know it's always real talk right here with yours truly, Fernando Uribe. Folks, I am New Jersey's premier award-winning journalist, top 100 Latino, via the Latino Spirit online magazine. Without a doubt, folks, the weapon of mass disruption in Garden State media, and certainly the people's choice and the people's voice. Fernando Uribe saying so long, folks. Enjoy the rest of February. We'll see you next month in March. Great episodes coming in the month of March, April, and May during this election season. Folks, again, I can't thank you enough. I'm Fernando Uribe. As always, thank you so much for watching.